They just want you to sit in your chair and go hip hip hooray for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, same old, same old every single day without exception. Please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Good evening, everyone. And if you were watching last night, I'm so sorry because I was actually knackered. I was exhausted, and I was in pain as well. So I've got my reading glasses on tonight because I'll be doing some reading, and I was straining last night with me other glasses on, which are distant ones. And I was really straining my eyes. I was getting a terrible blind and headache. I thought it was a migraine, I'm being honest. And I'm okay. I'm okay tonight. I've got my mate on with me, Anthony. He missed me last night. He said, I missed you. He phoned me. He said, missed you. I didn't half miss you. I said, you're lying. He was having a big party with his bottle of grouse, because it was his twin's 24th birthday. So he has an Italian. Yes. Nice Italian for our friend, Anthony, and his family. Cost him a fortune. Anyway, Anthony will be on in a moment, and there's lovely Amby. Hiya, Amby. Hiya, Ellen. Good evening, Frank, Anthony, and chatters. Here's some fella. Here's a stranger. You know, there's a song about him, isn't there? I think Frank Sinatra sang it. Strangers in the night. Good evening, Frank and legends. Hope everyone is well. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Johan. And little Lambie says, sorry to hear you were ill, Frank. Yeah, I was tired, you know. I was just so exhausted, and I had to I'll tell you what happened. Actually, I finished here, and you know the people were so good. You know, they were saying, "Listen, Frank, we can see that you're in pain," which I was, and I finished here. I goes into my living room and sits down, and it was overwhelming. It was just, I just felt exhausted, and I decided to go to bed. And I went to bed at precisely 10 minutes past 9, and it's the first time I've ever gone to bed at that hour in years. And goes into bed, and I'm just lying there, you know, as you do, like a big dump, and puts the TV on. And I never watched it for 5 minutes, honestly, I didn't. And I fell asleep. All the lights were on, fell asleep, and I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, turned the lights off, you know, jumped into bed, and I never got up then until I woke up. Now, this is from, say, 9:15 through to 6:30. I was just lying there, and then my eyes went, and then I woke up about 20 past 7, something like that. So that big long sleep proves I've never slept that long, and it proves that I was exhausted. So anyway, here I am, okay tonight. And Stepan says, "Good evening, Frank. Good evening, Stepan." And to Daniela, if she's looking in, Stepan's all the way from Barcelona, Bath, and he's got his partner's Italian, and he's French. They live in Bath, and they love Liverpool. You could make things up, could you? And there's our two Italian lovely ladies. Buonasera, Franco, Anthony, and everyone. Hope you're all okay. Yes. Yes. Franco, buonasera a tutti. So that's good evening to me and to everyone else. And Johan says, glad you got a long slumber. 2 consecutive football shows must have. Yes, yes. You're taking the Michael now, aren't you, Johan? Hi, everyone, says Bella. Lovely Bella. And Stefan says, Daniela is here, always, batchy. Oh, that's good. Thank you, Stefan and Daniela. And I think you might enjoy this because it's literature at its best. It really is. And Lynn, lovely Lynn. Evening, Frank. Evening, Lynn. And Stefan to Johan, you got a point. Slaughter's sucking the life out of us. He's blaming Slaughter. Why not? Because he blames everyone else, including the fans. Other teams are playing differently. You can't make these things up. You know, you just couldn't make these things up. Anyway, I'm going to bring in my great friends and we'll get this up and going because we've got a lot to do. There he is, the party man himself, Johan. Johan, Anthony.
You have with us as well. That's Stefan, Daniela.
Are you amazing? Okay?
I am good, Frank. I am good.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, better. Yeah.
Good, because what I want to do, I want to start off with this is where people, I'm talking about poets at the time, the likes of William Blake, the likes of John Keats as well, let's be honest, and a few others jumped on this, and we know a great prose writer, don't we, who actually looked at this as well years later, this particular thing. And what it was from a excuse me, it was from a Reverend Malthus. Reverend Malthus, and Johan says, good evening, international artist, Mr. Brown. There's your grouse there for you.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Mr. Kindness. Feel good. And everyone, good evening. Hope you all well.
That's good. That's great what you just said there, because these are good people. We were talking about them today, weren't we?
Absolutely. Yes.
We were talking about them. And Daniela, lovely Daniela. Good evening, Frank and Anthony. Waiting for you to visit us in Narkaloba.
No, hello.
Narkaloba must be Narky over there. Narkaloba. I like that because it's like an anagram, isn't it? Barcelona. She's mixed it up. Little anagram. Barcelona. Narkaloba. And the vlogs, Lee. Hiya, Lee. Hello, Frank and Anthony. Good to see you both again. Ready for a fantastic... Thank you. I think you will. I think you will enjoy this. It really will. Honestly, you will. And Bella says, good evening, Antonio.
I love that, Antonio. That's going to be my name. Bella, thank you so much. Good evening to you.
That's a good Italian name, isn't it? From Anthony to Antonio. That was my uncle's name, by the way.
Was it Antonio? Yeah.
Yeah, he got the the Tony. The Tony. Yeah. Look at my mum's name. Angelina Maria Yolando Volante. Even my Uncle Frankie, I was named after my granddad. And my Uncle Frankie, it was Francesco.
Wow.
Which is great.
His name is like a song.
It is, isn't it?
You could just close your eyes and imagine Dino singing it.
Yes. Yes. Dino Crecchetti.
Yes.
And Stepan says, good evening, Anthony, from the lands of Picasso, Dali, and Miro. Some of your favourites there, aren't they?
A beautiful land as well. I love Barcelona. Fantastic.
Yeah. And you know what, Anthony? We said, didn't we, a couple of months ago. I think it was a couple of months ago. I think Stepan mentioned Picasso, and we said, no, it was about 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago. And not Picasso, I'm sorry, the wonderful Dali reminded us, because he was so flamboyant, of one of our Liverpool greats who was also flamboyant.
Yes, the great Good Time George.
Good Time George. Good Time George. And what a family he had, Anthony.
Wow.
Incredible. Go on.
The connection in any history book relating to Liverpool, his family are in it.
Yeah, the Melly family, because he, I think, no, was it Charles? I might get mixed up with the surname, not the surnames, the Christian names. And what has happened was, one of them was walking around Liverpool, and he seen people drinking rainwater and any other kind of water, and it was stagnant, and they were drinking it from the streets because there's no water. And the only time that you could actually get a drink, like the general public, they had to go into a pub, because what the beer was purified to make the beer, if you know what I mean. So that was it. So he decided to put little standpipes and wall pipes, fountains, around Liverpool at his own expense. I'm sure it was Charles
Pierre.
Yeah. And also, I don't know whether it was his son, it must have been his son, because that was in around 1848. And his son, or grandson, could have been his grandson, who he bought a little plane, a biplane, and he used to take off from Southport Sands because it was hard, and he used to fly to Manchester and back again. And he said to his wife, "Yeah, get in, I'll give you a ride." She went, "I want to go in." He put it in, and I'm convinced that she was the very first woman aeronaut. I'm not saying aeronaut like in a balloon. You know, there must have been some women who went up in a balloon,
Yeah.
but I mean in a plane.
Yeah.
You know, to take off and fly over to Manchester and back again.
You know what? It just parallels Da Vinci's imagination.
Yes,
Imagination is the flight of
yes,
you think, you
yeah.
know,
Great visionaries, you see. This is what we've talked about.
yeah,
Great visionaries, you know, visionaries in literature and art.
yeah.
You
And
know,
see,
even Picasso. Just look at him,
yeah,
and he just changed everything, didn't he? You know, in his artwork. Did I
he
tell
did,
you about a young lad who used to go and visit his granddad every weekend? He used to run up and visit him, you know. And he's only, I think he was 17, 18. He's still at school, you know, college over there in Spain. And he was just talking to him, sitting outside, lovely summer's day. He was drinking his wine, you know, the granddad.
yeah,
And so you can imagine this lad, you know, I'm going to see my granddad, you know, go up. And every weekend he went up. And anyway, he was sitting there. And he said, and he just chatting in general. And artists came up, and Picasso was mentioned. He said, "Oh, he was a friend of mine." He said, and he said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He said he used to stay here with me. He said, and he had no money once, so he just painted a thing. He said, and I didn't like it. He said, I didn't like he just didn't like his art. He said, and he gave me a painting, you know, and said, you know, that would compensate for staying here for a few days. And he said, oh, okay. And he said, where is it? I've never seen it hanging on the wall. He said, no, it's in the loft.
oh,
He said, I didn't like it. And he went up and got it down. And he went, this is Picasso. He said, I know, because of his name and that. He said, why haven't you ever mentioned it before? He said, well, you've never asked. And he sold it for $14 million.
yeah.
He said, can I
Oh,
sell it? He said, yeah, if you want. So
wow.
you say, how about that?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there was a man, Picasso, whose lifetime lived and breathed art, and his father was an art teacher. And at an early age, his father said, "Wow, our little boy has got something special." And his father used to start pictures, of a seascape or Frank's house, or whatever it was. And then, unbeknown to him, Picasso, as a young lad, would come in and finish the
Bugaway.
picture. Yeah. And at a point, his dad said, "Well, I'm giving up painting because I will never be as good as our boy." And, you know,
That's
he,
incredible, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, but aren't they good stories, you know, to relate?
the
And
wonderful
happy
story.
stories.
Yeah,
Happy
wonderful stories.
stories. I love
Yeah,
anything like that.
yeah.
Just love it. I really do.
I do too. And we mentioned, and I'll be brief on it. You and I were talking privately the other night, the fascinating subject of famous last words.
Yes.
And Picasso's was, "Drink to me, drink to my health.
Yeah.
You know I can't drink anymore." And Justin Hoffman, who was there on his last evening, I believe, had said to Paul McCartney, he said, "I bet you couldn't write a song about this." And he told him that line, what I've just said then. And McCartney indeed did. So literature is inspired by everything.
And everyone.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
And McCartney wrote the song.
Yeah, Picasso's last words.
Incredible.
Check it out, people. It is a beauty.
Do you know what Humphrey Bogart said? His last words. I shouldn't have changed from scotch to martinis. You could imagine Bogey saying that, couldn't you?
Yeah, yeah,
You could imagine him.
yeah.
And the great Oscar Wilde.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm having a, we're having an argument with I'm having an argument with my wallpaper, and one of us must go. They were his last words. One of us must go. And that was the great man himself. You know, a humorous goodbye.
Yeah, but
Like
not
both, you know what I mean? Humorous goodbyes.
after all he'd been through. It's that he retained his humor
Yeah,
and his humanity. You know,
absolutely brilliant. And I'll just go down here, these wonderful people of ours. Amby says, wonders why my ears were burning. They went burning because of me, man. Amby. And she says hello, Bella, to her. Irene Evans. Hiya, Irene. Evening, Frank and Tony. Lovely Irene.
Irene.
And the vlogs. The museum fans liaison officers has made up, said it's Prestatin type CAD 75 175 Roman. Go away.
Oh, wow.
The museum's fan liaison is made up, said it's a Prestatin type AG 75.
Wow.
No, don't forget it was AG 43, and it was the Claudian invasion. And who went around the Prestatin area? You know, it was one of the legions. There was 4 legions, and one of them went around, and that they were the crack legion of 2 Augusta. So they were up there. So that must belong to them. 2 Augusta, crack legion. And 2 Augusta, if you want a comparison for what they did, they actually built Hadrian's Wall.
Wow.
2 Augusta.
Well,
I think it's brilliant, that, what he said.
I do too. That's fantastic.
I'll just go through these, then we'll get started, okay?
Yeah.
Because we really need to. Our lovely people, you know. But I have to answer them. And well done there, Lee. Honestly, well done, mate. I love that. I used to lecture about the Romans, as you know. And anyway, Owen Lee, even if Frank, Anthony, and chat, hope you're all well. Yes, Owen.
Good evening, Owen.
And Stephen says, Toulouse-Lautrec visited his dad on his deathbed in the south. He swiped a fly and slapped the dad. The dad woke, and his last words were, "You've always been that arsehole." And died soon after. You can't make these things up. Come on. Fantastic. And our lovely French ladies with us, Odette. Literature adds to reality. It does not simply describe it. It enriches the necessary competencies that daily life requires and provides. Now, got to say this, haven't we? Because she carries on by saying, and in this respect, it irrigates the deserts and that our lives have already become. And C.S. Lewis said that. Now, what was we talking about today? We were talking the same, wasn't it? It enriches the necessary competencies that daily life requires and provides. We were talking about it today,
Yeah,
weren't we?
we were, we were. Yeah,
And the vlog say, have either of you been around Croxton and Knowsley or Croxton on my DVD? One of my DVD, I don't know what it is. It could have been Heroes and Villains. I'm not quite so sure. I actually filmed what was up there, and it was the a reenactment of the Civil War, the English Civil War, between the Cavaliers and the Roundheads, and I actually filmed it. And Tony Snell put it on the DVD that I was making at the time, but he put it in black and white. I said, "Why did you do that?" He said, "For authenticity." Know what I mean?
yeah.
I actually filmed it.
I've been to Knowsley Hall,
Yeah.
taken the greatest ever picture I've taken of a rainbow over Knowsley Hall, which was very, very humbling. Makes us realise how small we are.
How about that? Bella's saying Pablo Picasso um, he's actually quoted by saying, "Art is a lie that makes us realise the truth."
Yeah.
That's mad, that, isn't it?
My greatest ever artistic quote is by Pablo. Every child is born an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist as we grow up.
Wow. Our freedom journey's with us. Good evening, gents and chat.
Good evening, freedom.
And hello, Regan.
Yeah,
Hiya,
yeah.
freedom. Good to see you. And that's it. Bonsoir.
I'm sure.
Bonsoir, Monsieur Frank, Anthony, and chat.
Good evening, Odette. Lovely.
The vlogs. Thanks for the info, Frank. Well, when I see you, I'll give you more info about it as well. Because 2 Augusta are unbelievable. And the fella who led them vlogs, and he goes back, he's saying 175 AD, isn't he? Let me go back, please. Let me go back. 75 AD. Now, who led? I'm made up with that 75 actually. I'm made up with it because you'll be delighted with this vlogs. 2 Augusta was led by a general, 21 years of age. He was a great general named Vespasian. And he's one of my favourite emperors because he became emperor in, it could have been 75. Or, yeah, it was 75. So if it was with him, if it was with Vespasian, an emperor who became an emperor with 2 Augusta, incredible. Incredible. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely incredible. I love that. I love it. And that's it. You can come with us because we're going as it.
We are.
I would love to go to Florence, she says, and see the Uffizi Gallery, famous for paintings and Botticelli's Birth of Venus and Primavera, along with the works by Leonardo and Caravaggio. One day, I hope. Come with me and Anthony and
Get us-
Anthony's wife. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Come with us next year. We're going, aren't we?
We're going, definitely going. Yeah.
And we're going in because I love Florence. I, I just love it, you know. I always have regrets, as you know, but it's one of those things, regrets. And what does Sinatra say? Regrets I have a few, but then again, too few to
Too
mention.
few to mention.
Right, I'm going to start on this. Oh, wow, that's amazing, Frank. Wait till I see your vlogs, you know, Lee. Wait till I see you because you're coming down in the next couple of weeks to see me. But it'll have to be at a weekend. I'm not going to have anyone coming on a Thursday. Sorry, any weekday now, simply because I was exhausted last night. Because I had a very a lovely visitor, and I hadn't seen, and she was inviting me to a birthday party, you know, and she didn't leave until 10 to 7. I was totally exhausted, totally, because I said I have to do it. So anyway, it'd have to be on a Saturday or a Sunday. You know, it depends if Liverpool are not playing as well. Right. I'm going to start now, Anthony, and I'm going to read something from a man, a Reverend Malthus. Okay. Now listen to this. And what he did, he gathered all these people around, the poor, the poor people. He gathered them around. And you're talking 1801. 1801. So he gathered them around. And this fella, the same fella, this clergyman, belonging to the church and the cloth, he wanted to abolish every law pertaining to the poor. You know, like the parish laws. You know, they got a pittance anyway, but he wanted to abolish that. And here's what he said when he gathered the poor around. It was in a church, obviously, and he didn't want any rich there. He just got them all in. Come on. And he gathered them around. Now, if you were poor going back then and being invited, you couldn't go into a church, you know. Did you know that? The poor weren't allowed into a church. And if I remember, I'll tell you something now because I might forget to mention it. Do you know St. George's Church here in Everton?
Yeah.
Well, the architect, John Rickman, and the Mersey Iron founder, because he owns all this iron, he smelted iron, and he did an infrastructure rather than wood. So St. George's Church in Everton became the very first building with an iron infrastructure. But there's something significant as well. Something significant. Now, that went up in 1814, that church. And there was a pew, you know, a pew, a little, and it was away from the main congregation because it was very, very wealthy. Everton, very wealthy. Wordsworth used to go down there on sojourns, and he used to bring his sister Dorothea, and who wrote the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Can you remember?
Just the
I'll tell you.
Go.
It was Samuel Taylor.
Coleridge.
Yes. And they used to go down. So this shows you the significance of Everton at the time, because it was full of mansions, it was full of villas. Beautiful place. Beautiful. So they used to go down there. So I'm just saying about the church, and they allowed the poor, because no poor was allowed into churches. Right? But this fella brought them in, so they were all expecting something, the poor. They were all expecting something. And they were all sitting there. And then he started. He said, "We grant you poor a right to exist, but only to exist. The right to multiply you have not, nor the right to exist as befits human beings. You are a pest, and if we cannot get rid of you as we do other pests, you shall feel at least that you are a pest, and you shall at least be held in check, kept from bringing into the world other surpluses, either directly or through inducing the others laziness and want of employment. Live you shall, but live as an awful warning to all those who might have inducements to become superfluous." That's a reverend talking to the poor.
What a hateful speech.
But what about what pests do you reckon he's talking about?
He's talking about rats and mice and
Of course he is. And he's calling them rats
yeah.
because you're pests. And we don't want you to breed as other pests do.
Hate speech.
Yeah. Yeah. Hate speech as a be today. A hate speech as it be today.
Yeah.
Now, you can say, I don't like what Israel are doing. That's regarded as a hate speech, which is absolutely ridiculous. But, to say that to a congregation of poor people who live by hand to mouth. We mentioned Charles Melly and what he did for the poor.
Yes.
With standpipes and mounted wall fountains.
Yeah.
That you've drawn.
Yeah.
One of your great impressions of a mounted wall, 1848.
Yeah.
47 or 48.
47.
He put them around.
Yeah.
So he does that, and this fella does this. Can I read you now a poem?
Yes, please.
And this fella... okay, let's jump forward before I read the poem. Now, this fella must have read this as well. Must have heard it, because it was around the time of his. Now, if you leap years, about 50 years or whatever, from then, who was the great prose writer who made a comment about this?
Who made a comment about the the suffering of the poor.
Yes.
Well, other than the chap we're going to mention, he's the likes of Keats.
No, if we go 50 years ahead, prose writer, not a poet. He read it. He read it. And who do you think it was? Think of the mid-19th century. Who was writing then? What prose writer? One of the greatest, in my opinion. And your opinion.
Yeah.
You can't think, can you?
I can't think past Mr. Dickens.
That's it, it was. Don't forget, this was in 1801. It was written, I said, didn't I, leap 50 years.
Yeah.
Leap 50 years. And it was Dickens. So this particular poem is by one of the greatest poets ever at the time, around 1800, before then as well, 1794, right?
Yeah.
So he must have read that. He must have done. And this fellow was going. And it's called London. And it's by who?
It's by the absolute genius William Blake.
Yes. Right. Gotta read this. Gonna read it from the book rather than recite it. Right? Excuse me. I wander through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weakness, marks of woe. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every ban, the mind-forged manacles I hear. How the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlot's curse blasts the newborn infant's tear and blights with plagues the marriage hearse. Now, what's that about? As you know, it's about each chartered street, chartered Thames. You've got to pay for it. Everything is paid for. But he was getting also at the vagrants because there was a vagrancy law, and you go to jail. You just get picked up and go to jail. Do you know Princess Park here?
Yeah.
That was the first park open, right? And it was closed off to everyone except the rich, because around there, as you know, was very, very wealthy.
Yes.
And if a vagrant went in, or just someone walking through, oh, what a lovely park, because they had a boating league there, they were just dragged off and put in jail. And this is what it was like. Now, don't forget what he says. The mark in every face I meet, marks of weakness, marks of woe. They're all, they're just sad. The sad marks of weakness, the weak people. Weak because they're well, they're not fed properly, but also weak in mind. They're weak in mind. And where he says as well, and we know about this, you and I, Anthony, how the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalled, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. And what happened to him? What happened to the Blake? With them two, well, with that stanza really, what happened to him?
He was the soldier kind of picked a fight with him, and he corrected something the soldier had said, and the soldier immediately pressed for charges of treason,
Yeah,
and he was thrown into jail to go to court.
yeah. And what happened to you if you were found guilty of treason in those days?
Did, you were killed, you were hung?
Yeah, execute you. But luckily enough, he wasn't found guilty.
No, no.
But anyway, even the people around him, when they read that, they said he is a traitor because he's saying a blackening church appalls. Blackening.
Yeah,
Because the blackening was sin. He's saying the church is full of sin.
yeah,
And the state, which the state in those days was the king
yeah,
and the queen, and the blackening church appalls and blights. I'm gone. And blast. I'm gone. Still, good God. Runs in blood down palace walls. So
yeah,
he's saying, with all this, you've got to look at the state because the state is full of blood.
yeah,
You're talking about the monarchy.
yeah,
And where I think the last stanza stands out, which is absolutely horrendous. Horrendous. It says, but most, oh, he's emphasizing this, but most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlot's curse blasts the newborn infant's tear and blights with plagues the marriage hearse. A harlot is a prostitute.
yeah,
She's a youthful prostitute. Think about that. Youthful.
yeah.
A youthful harlot case.
Young
So she
girl.
must be around 14 or 15. Who does the baby belong to? The infant's tear.
The clients.
The harlot. That's her baby. That's her baby. The
Yes.
youthful harlot. So, well, the clients, people don't realise that the 19th century, the 1800s, was a century of paedophilia, paedophiles.
Yeah.
Everyone,
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
And the clientele, shall we say, where it says, and blasts, and blights, I'm sorry, and blights with plagues the marriage hearse. Because what he's saying there, these people, the clientele, come in the carriages because they're rich.
Yeah.
And they pick up these young girls. And they carry diseases. The young girls carry diseases given by the clients. Hence, when he goes back home, he gives the diseases, the sexual transmitted diseases, to his wife inside. Hence, the marriage blights the marriage hearse. The hearse is the carriage as he's going home after his sexual deviancy.
Because where does the hearse go? To a grave.
But there you go.
And those poor young girls.
But what about the wives of these clients?
Yeah.
That's who he's talking about. The marriage hearse. Blights with plagues. The marriage hearse. Powerful words.
Very powerful. Very powerful. And it could be describing today and what's gone on recently and what's continuing to unfold.
Can I just say hello to this? I've just seen a mate of mine. Must have thought that we were there. Oh, I can't. Hang on, where am I? Hang on. What was this? Well, look, Daryl. How are you feeling? Got some Get some, behave yourself, you, Daryl. Anyway, Odette says, apart from Dickens, I've read Orwell's Down and Out in Paris and London, showing his personal experiences of living with the poor in both cities.
Yeah. His choice to observe. And what a remarkable thing.
Yeah. And actually, love thy neighbour, and most will do their own one. Of mine kicked me dog this morning, and I'm not happy. I don't know what he means there. Steve Evans, my old mate. Evening, catch you next week, mate. Off the dam in the morning. Oh yeah, he's going to Amsterdam tomorrow. Is our Steve, good friend of mine, and he's bringing his lads over, which is nice, you know. Dylan,
Yeah.
he's bringing his lad, and that she says, Frank, what you're talking about is alive and well on a massive scale, and a thumbs up. Thank you, Archie.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about, my
Who
friend.
wrote about it? Not many people wrote about it and got away with writing about it.
No, absolutely none. And you see, you know, look, what we see with literature, as Odette says, he went over to Paris and London, but he wasn't. He observed everything.
Yes.
He came to Liverpool to observe the 40 Thieves. He was known as the 40 Thieves. I was actually on the BBC talking about it. And the 40 Thieves, they were villains. They were kids. And they used to steal from the ladies and the gentlemen. And they were known as the 40 Thieves. You see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he was upset, and he became a special constable. He said, "You can't go down there. They love you. It's a dangerous place, the docks." So they made him into a special constable, dressed him up in a uniform, and he went with two other constables just to observe these kids. It's incredible.
It is incredible, Frank. And how rewarded are we that he did that?
Yes.
And then years later, as Odette quite rightly said, George Orwell did the same thing.
Yep. You see, when I wrote the play, Echoes of the First World War, and I put it on, and it was successful, really was. I had to do the research of everything because I wanted to bring in the only. Did you know that no one wrote the truth about the war in the newspapers at the time? No one knew. No one wrote about the truth. They were saying how great it was, not to frighten the people back home. And the only people that was writing the truth were who, do you reckon?
The people who were there with the First World War, immediately the war poets.
Yes.
Who were
Yes.
actively dodging bullets.
Shells and everything.
Yeah.
It was shocking. It was shocking what they were doing.
Yeah.
It really was. And when you think of people the way, poets, for example, and there was a fellow by the name of A.E. Mackintosh. A.E. Mackintosh. And Mackintosh, he wrote a poem. And it was so, nearly swore there. It was so sad that everything, my nose is itchy. Would you believe it started itching? It was so sad that he went down, he was losing all his men. New men were coming every day, more or less. And he was losing them because he went over with them. He was just an ordinary, excuse me, he was just an ordinary trench officer. Yeah. And every time the whistle went, he went over with the lads. But he was losing them all around him. He never hardly got to know them. But this bunch of lads, he started to get to know them because they lasted. Just one or two are getting killed, so he started to get to know them. And he lost some of the lads who he got to know. Well, he lost most of them. And he decided he was going home on leave, and he decided to write letters to the parents, but deliver them personally. If you think about that, Anthony.
So powerful what he did. Yeah.
But before I carry on with it, Odette says, is it true that Chaplin was inspired by Dickens through his tramp character and the Roundtree Foundation had direct links to Seaborn Roundtree, which led to the welfare reforms? When you're talking about Yorkshire there, Odette, and Roundtree, you had it here as well with Lord Leverhulme, which, the reforms, no, the reforms were inspired by different people. And obviously, the Roundtree and also Port Sunlight, Leverhulme, they inspired reform because they said you've got to do something for the poor. So you're right in the respect there. But there was other people as well, other great people. Right, so this Captain Mackenzie, he goes to deliver, and he's delivering these letters while he's on leave. So he goes and he's just walking around a little hedgerow either side. And he walks around and he sees this stone wall, the stone walls that they have in farms and that. And he sees an old man and he's just sitting on the wall, just sitting there. And he also notices the little farm, and it's unkempt. And he goes around and he just goes, excuse me, do you know where a Mr. Jones lives? David Jones. And he looked up at him and said, yes, I'm Mr. Jones. And he said, oh. And he saluted him. And he gave him a letter. He said, I'm so sorry. And Mr. Jones knew why he was sorry. He knew why he was sorry. Because of his boy who was dead. And as he was walking back, he saluted him again and he went up and he turned around to look at him one more time. This old gentleman who was sitting on the wall. And he was sobbing. He opened the letter and he was sobbing into it. As he must have started to read it, he's just sobbed in it. And he looked at him. And when he got back to barracks, before he went back to France, he wrote a poem after seeing that gentleman, that old man, because he only had him. He was a widower. He had no other children. And he only had him, his son, David. And his name was David. And the poem goes like this. So you were David's father, and he was your only son, and the new cut peats are rotting, and the work is left undone, because of an old man weeping, just an old man in pain, for David, his son David, that will not come home again. Oh, the letters he wrote you, and I can see them still, and not a word of the fighting, but just the sheep on the hill, and how you should get the crops in. Here the storm gets stormier, and the Boche have got his body, and I was his officer. You were only David's father, but I had 50 sons when we went up in the evening under the arch of the guns. And when we came back at twilight, oh God, I heard them call to me for pity. That could not help at all. Oh, never I forget you, my men that trusted me, more my sons than your fathers, for they could only see the little helpless babies and the young men in their pride. They could not see you dying and hold you while you died. Happy and young and gallant, they saw their firstborn go, but not the strong limbs broken and the beautiful men brought low. You were only their fathers, but I was their officer. 3 weeks later, he was killed himself. A.E. Mackintosh. That's one of the most powerful poems written.
Very. And what's rewarding as well as poignant and powerful is that his humanity, his appreciation of loss for not only himself, who was trying to mother and look after his boys, but their families and how they would have talked. There's only me and my dad now since my mum died, and all that, all that. Just the emotion, just
It is the emotion. You're so right there. And when he, as I said, he got to know these lads only for a week or whatever. And he decided to write personal letters and bring them to the parents of the lads who were killed. And David Jones was one of them. But did you notice in the opening, so you were David's father and he was your only son, and the new cup pizza rotting and the work is left undone? Because, as I mentioned, when he went down to see, he's just seen this fella, he looked and he seen that the farm was unkempt. It was unkempt.
yeah,
And he had actually had that in the poem because, with the letters that were written, you couldn't write home to see where you were or about the fighting or anything. And the letters that David Jones was writing to his dad was, I was the sheep, only the sheep on the hill, and now you should get the crops in, if you know what I mean. This is what he was writing, that's their letters. Because the officers had to read what was going on. They couldn't read, if there was anyone mentioning where they were, say like a Raz, or, wherever in France,
yeah,
they would have been ripped up.
yeah.
So that's why he knew about, getting the crops in and all this.
Again,
Out the sheep.
it's the literature. It's the final word on paper, which survives to give us A, the history, and B, the insight to those moments. What a powerful, truly powerful, wonderful thing that that was preserved. And and he too, the officer, is is looking at it through the eyes of Dickens, and later um, he's observing what a wonderful gift of that gentleman to observe what the young soldier is going through, the letters that go out, and he's seen that. And then when he saw it himself, it was like,
Exactly. It's like Flanders Fields. And Flanders Fields, again, was a powerful poem. And just starts off. And it's about poppies. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses row upon row to mark our place. And in the sky, the lark bravely singing amid the guns below. We are the dead. A few short days ago we lived, saw sunsets glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie here in Flanders Fields. They're all dead. Now we lie here in Flanders Fields. You know, it's a powerful poem. And these bloody things were banned. They were banned. You couldn't read them or anything like that until 12 years later.
that is the absolute absurdity of telling the truth. You punish for the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. You're all punished for the truth. We're all bloody punished for the truth. And it's fucking shocking. It really is shocking, you know, when you think about, you know, people turn around and say, oh, yeah, you know, but they're getting loads and loads of, you're getting loads of ridiculous, and I mean ridiculous feedback by the Western narrative. And you've got to believe in the Western narrative. No such thing as a Western narrative because it's all lies. Even, I don't know whether it was Tolstoy or Dostoevsky who said history would be a wonderful thing if it was true.
Yeah.
You know, because what he's saying there, it's so full of propaganda, what's going on, that you can't believe it's true. Well, you know, what is the truth?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like what Voltaire said as well. If I can remember, it's as dangerous to be right in matters on which the established authorities are wrong. That's more or less saying, you know,
Yeah.
it's only like today.
Yeah.
You could be locked up for telling the truth. They don't want you to hear the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Some things
just,
never change.
sorry?
Some things never change, and we go
No.
straight back to that hate speech and William Blake, who said, "I'm not having this." So he puts it down, puts it out, and so they make him out to be a madman, fool of no importance.
Do you know what, though? It's surprising how words can be so powerful.
Yeah.
But words from the likes of poets and prose writers, they're
Yeah.
very powerful.
They are powerful.
And Leo Tolstoy, since corrupt people unite amongst themselves to constitute a force, then honest people must do the same. So what he's saying, uh, 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 Tolstoy, is if these people are uniting to destroy you, you must unite to destroy them. That's us. That's you and me and the chat.
Yeah.
Because we do get destroyed by governing powers,
Yeah.
as you know, and as everybody else knows.
Yeah.
I'll have to see what our lads and girls are saying. You don't mind, do you?
No, absolutely delighted, Frank. Go.
And Archie says, have you checked out the life of Charlie Chaplin? He liked young girls as an older man. So did Elvis, Jerry D. Lewis, etc. Yeah, they were. He married Una. She was 18. He was 53 at the time, and he married her. The likes of Jerry Lee Lewis married his cousin, which was a bit odd, and she was 13.
Yeah.
Elvis liked young girls because
Yeah.
if you look at it carefully, he was knocking about with Priscilla, Priscilla,
Yeah.
and she was only 14. Then he married her. She was 14. So, what does that tell you about these people? But Charlie Chaplin, as I said, because he married a girl 18, well, there's no harm in that because she wasn't, below age or anything like that. But people, Jerry Lee Lewis, you go, whoa, 13 and a cousin.
Yeah.
Jesus, Anyway, thanks for that, Archie. I read Dickens says Odette was involved in the ragged school movement he was, and set up a Urania cottage with Angela Burdett Coutts for fallen women, unless you drill down and research is not being educated to kids. Well, they wouldn't be. I lived by a place called Aunt Fowler's. And Aunt Fowler's beautiful building. It's knocked down now, it's demolished. And Aunt Fowler's, do you know where the Everton Crest is? The lockup? Well, it was just by there, Anthony.
Up on the hill.
Yes, up on the hill. And that was for fallen women. That was for fallen women. And I know that Dickens had some say in that because he loved Liverpool. He loved going up to Everton, didn't he, for his little mints?
He did. And sitting on that bench where you and you can still almost see the views that he saw. And the whole city goes to work at the bottom of the hills.
Yes. Yes, and he describes it in Odd Times, and it's the fifth chapter, and it's called Keynote. And as he's looking down, he's describing Liverpool, with the river and with the canal and with the people going in and out of the homes at the same time, same day, same week, same month, same year, all the time. And the pistons, going up and down, like a melancholy elephant.
Yeah.
and the swirling smoke coming out of chimneys like swirling serpents, and the faces of the men blackened like English, like savages. So therefore, he's describing a human jungle,
Yeah.
savages, because they're all filthy with work,
Yeah.
snakes, serpents, elephants up and down.
Absolutely.
Incredible. A
Spirit.
human jungle
Yeah.
in one little first page of the chapter. And this is the beauty of words.
Yes.
Words that get you here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as Archie says, words are like spells. That's a cracker, that.
Spellbinding.
Words are like spells.
Yeah.
They are like spells.
They ignite your imagination.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually say getting the crops in is all about working for a conglomerate company in this day and age, wage packets, etc., etc., etc. Oh my God, help us. Good shout there, Archie. Very good. You know where Archie comes from, by the way?
Yeah. A bit southern to Liverpool.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, because he comes on the pod now and again. The
Yeah.
football, that is. He comes
Yeah.
from Southampton.
You go.
There you go. It's a port like us.
Cheers. Yeah.
And he said, am I half a Scouser? I said, why? He said, because my mum's a Scouser. I said, yeah.
Absolutely.
Am I half a Scouser? Brilliant. In France, we celebrate our Dickens, namely, Victor Hugo, a.k.a. Les Miserables, as well as the likes of Voltaire, I love Voltaire, Charles Baudelaire, Charles
Wonderful.
Baudelaire.
Wonderful. We need to keep these names and these works alive up with us.
Absolutely.
Every single generation.
But, okay. And the ambi says to Archie, yes, you are taught spelling at school. I used to be a good speller. Don't know what's happened to me lately. Anyway, Johan, what difference does it make to the dead, the orphans, and the homeless whether the mad destruction is wrought under the name of totalitarianism or in the holy name of liberty or democracy? Mahatma Gandhi said that. And it doesn't make a difference to the dead, the orphans, and the homeless because they end up dead. Thanks for that quote, Johan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The power is in the words.
The power is in these, isn't it? Our chatters.
Yes.
Just imagine if we, didn't have chatters. It'd be a waste of time.
Yeah. Other than you and I spouting off on a park bench.
It's like, and actually to Ambi, waiting for the power cut. No electricity. I used to wait for that myself in 73 or 4. And the debt to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night, the day. Thou canst not be false to any man. Some quote that.
Yeah,
To thine own self be true,
true.
and it must follow as the night, the day. Thou canst not be false to any man. But unfortunately, there is falsity, and this is what we get drummed at every day. Unfortunately, um, I I try not to I try not to give out any false information. I really don't, and I'm not biased to any certain like leader or country or anything. I what you call balance it out. We've got you've got in America, you've got great writers. You've got great writers. One of the greatest was Arthur Miller. Do you know what his last words were, by the way?
No?
I'll be seeing Marilyn again. That was his last words.
Wow.
Now he wrote Salem's Lot, and it was brilliant. Well, it wasn't sort of Salem's Lot. He wrote The Crucible, the melting pot,
Yeah.
and it's based on the Salem law and what was going on there, the lies that were spilled, everything.
McCarthy,
What?
McCarthyism, so-called witch hunt.
Yes, it was. And when he wrote it, he gave a copy and signed it and everything. And this is how pathetic American politicians are. And he go, oh, thank you, Mr. Miller. It was about him. It was about McCarthy himself. And he looks at you, oh, thank you. I'll treasure this for the rest of my life. Isn't that brilliant?
Yes.
Excuse me. But it's the irony, Anthony. It's the irony of that.
I know.
The crucible.
Which is the wonderful thing. And that's what helps us remember the moments.
Yes.
It's as we both love the likes of Oscar Wilde.
Oh.
You mentioned before his final words, and he was a very, very articulate, humorous man. Now he could have mentioned names, called people out, and his final words might have been, that kind of payback that a lot of people deserved, but he didn't. He did it with dignity and humour.
Well, what about Mark?
Excuse me.
It's okay.
Okay.
What about Mark Twain? And Mark Twain, albeit I didn't like the likes of, Huckleberry Finn and, the Mississippi and all this, Tom Sawyer, didn't like any of that. And a great quote by him, and he said, the truth has no defense. Right? The truth is no defense against a fool determined to believe the lie.
Yes. That's a very good. And again, it could be about today.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, of course it is. It's like we go back to Shakespeare. Oh, what a terrible era we live in. As idiots govern the blind.
Yeah. Yeah.
It applies today.
Yeah. It just it does apply, and I get what you're saying about him and his. That was his chosen field where you and I might write about the Mersey and the beauties of the River Mersey and the comings and goings of life from Italy, from Ireland, from to furnish this wonderful city. I think he was on that. Uh, that was his zone. Yeah. When it's crazy, really, and until you started these nights, when you break down certain things, everyone assumes that everything Dickens wrote was about London,
I know.
and it wasn't. He was a much travelled man, wasn't he?
Yes.
He loved Liverpool.
Yes.
He loved various other parts of this country, and also to travel abroad. You know,
Yes.
and then you have the likes of the great Barrett Brownings, who
Oh,
again you assume that everything is about England. Some is poignantly, but most of their world, their enjoyment, their heaven was in Italy,
yeah.
the land of freedom for
Yes.
them and many writers,
Well,
poets.
you mentioned the Brownings
Yeah,
and Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And I've told her, told her wonderful chatters to try and read her poem called Aurora Lee, and it's all about education and the lack of it here
yeah,
for kids, the lack of it here. And Charlotte Bronte with Jane Eyre tried
yeah,
to address it.
yeah,
Dickens tried to address it.
yeah,
Education, that is.
yeah,
See what these are, these. Actually, the pen and the sword. The pen and the swords, we are at a strange time in history, unfortunately. The words are not working, unfortunately. It's not so much the words that's written, it's the words that are said. Uh, you've only got to look, I've got to say this, but this is really for tomorrow night. You've only got to look at what the Americans are doing to Venezuela. And what they're doing, they're blowing up little boats, fishing vessels. We all know that the fishing vessels, because if they be drugs on those little boats, they would have all been stopped by the US Navy and said, yeah, look, these people, they're under arrest. These are the drugs. This is what we're telling you. They're not doing it because the fishermen. So it's the spoken word that's said by the likes of the politicians, unfortunately.
yeah,
And you've got these you've got the biggest aircraft carrier in the world, and that's the Gerald Ford thing. And it's shocking because all they want is regime change. That's all they go after is regime change. To put a Nobel Peace Prize woman in, and she should never, it's all corrupt how she got that. They couldn't give it to Trump because he's starting wars everywhere, him. Couldn't give it to him. So they gave it to the person who he'd admire. And that was a woman who begged Trump to bomb her own country. Think about that. She begged him, go and bomb it and put me in as president. She got the Nobel Peace Prize for that. What would happen if they were dropping those big heavy bombs? Like the bombs that they give Israel to bomb defenseless people. Well, let me tell you that there's the defenseless people also in Venezuela. And they would have been killed. And it's all based on lies, deceit, propaganda, everything. With this madman in charge. He's a madman.
Yeah.
But that's for tomorrow night. And Toscana is there to Archie, you being serious? Someone kicked your dog? And he says, yes. Christopher. Hi, Frank and Anthony and everybody.
Hi, Christopher.
Like and subscribe, says Christopher. Christopher, I've got a couple of football books for you. If you ever want to come up, and if you're there, I bet he's not there, I bet he's gone. Because he just comes on and says, hello, like and subscribe. The great art people, aren't they? And Johan, words with rhythm, that is, music is truly spellbinding. Do you know what? I lay in bed this morning and I was choked. Started to choke. But I put some music on. And what came up, first was some country music. And what it was Blankets on the Ground. By Billy Joe Spears.
Yeah.
And I got choked, Anthony. Choked. Do you know why?
Why?
Because when I heard it brought back memories for me. And I bet you I can't find it. It brought back memories, and they were the best memories I've ever had. I had a great time. I was with my lovely mates. And I just had a wonderful time. And why I was choked, I've got a bloody photograph here, and I don't know where it is, Anthony. I don't know where it is.
But that is the absolute genius of music.
And
takes you to a place.
Yeah, and it brought me back to my friends, and most of them are dead.
Yeah.
And I've got a photograph here somewhere, and I should have looked for it. I should have looked for it, not being lazy. Because, these are the lads. These are the Macbeth lads.
Yeah. Oh,
So goes to see Macbeth. I bring him as well to his 21st, and I'm so sorry that I just took it's here. It's just here somewhere. My beautiful friends, and most of them are gone. Most of them are gone, aren't they? I don't know where the fuck I put it. I just don't know where. Just don't know where. And I know it's here. So sad. Oh, it's not fucking there. It's not there. And that's what I mean about you said, and as Johan says as well, spellbinding.
yes.
Music is truly spellbinding. And I just had them on, and I had, and it just went through. These, I was just enjoying it, just lying in bed this morning,
Yeah.
just listening to this country music, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, this is great. Absolutely. Johnny Cash. I told the line, with that deep voice he's got.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the first thing that we register, our senses register, and it takes us to a place. It's like someone opening up a photo album in front of you, and without all the physical attachments, it it brings back so many pictures. Yeah.
It does. And do you know what else I was listening to as well? Still the same thing. And I went back again. So I listened to the lyrics again, and it was Conway Twitty, "Only Make Believe,"
Only make
and the
believe.
lyrics are so powerful. And I forget his name. This fella, "Save a Heartbreak." Oh fuck! It was again the lyrics.
Yeah. Yeah.
The tears, can swell an ocean or something.
Yeah.
Incredible lyrics to these wonderful songs.
Yeah.
I
That,
was sitting
that
there like that.
yeah. To me, there's a certain level of music and songs with lyrics that we could include in our poignancy, like poems to music. Not every music, because it's manufactured to sell a product, but there are deeply moving lyrics to lots of songs.
Well, as Johan said, and as you just said there about selling the product, I think what you have, put it this way, you have, say, like John Lennon, for example, and Happy Xmas War is over.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the Americans didn't like that. Not the ordinary Americans, not the likes of you and I, but the politicians.
yeah. Because where did they make money?
There you go. And that's why they've had so many wars, because the military complexes make so much money. But it's not just the military complexes, Anthony, it's the politicians, it's the congressmen, and also the senators who make a lot of money because they get, there's something. if you just speak out in Congress or the Senate.
Yeah.
We've got to make more weapons. There's enemies out there. And so they all have a vote, make more weapons. They've got the money then. So it's hallelujah time for them.
Yeah. But you've got to keep the mass audience of people
And mass, yeah.
on board.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
He looks a bit threatening. That country dare to accuse us of bam, bam, bam. So you get them riled up. Again, hate speech. Starting,
Yes.
we're back to that very reverend Nonag from we talked about, and it's like to rile up others. My view is this, and all like-minded people should feel the same, where the poor should be stamped out because they are nothing.
Yeah. Who was it who said the rich are happy because they have an abundance of poor.
Poor. Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to read you a quote here. I saved this quote, Anthony. And it's by Goethe. And he says, "We do not have to visit a madhouse to find disordered minds. Our planet is the mental institution of the universe." The mental institution. He's talking about politicians, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the madhouse of the universe.
It is.
Go to that.
Yeah. I think it was the great Stephen Hawkins who said that there are still searches for intelligent life on other planets, but as so far they've not found any on planet Earth.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It just shows you, though, doesn't it, Anthony? The likes of you and I, our chatters, everybody who, hasn't he been saying about words and how powerful they can be?
Yes.
You either love them or hate them.
Yeah.
There's a juxtaposition between love and loathe. And that's where the loudness of propaganda and untruths come from.
Yeah.
And again, Dostoevsky. I love Dostoevsky. I think the Russians are fantastic, philosophers.
Yeah.
And Dostoevsky said, tolerance will, hang on, trying to think here, tolerance will reach such a level that intelligent people will be banned from thinking so as not to offend the imbeciles.
Brilliant. And that's now. That's right now.
Now,
That's right now.
it's now.
He was one of the books that our Katie put on hers.
Oh, go away.
Yeah. White Knights.
Oh, you've got to that quote. Katie has to get that quote and keep it. And the likes of what Voltaire has said as well.
Yes.
These are great quotes by great people. Tolstoy.
Yeah.
I'll go through what these are saying.
Yeah.
Are lovely people. Actually, Frank, my mum's a Scouser. Lovely. My mum's a Scout. That's what he said. When he first came on, when he just came on, he must have heard, me. It's very, that's a scouse for this fella. And come on. And, after a while, he sent a comment and he said,
Yeah.
Frank, my mum's a scouser. Does that make me half a scouser?
Indeed, it does.
It's like I'm half Italian, because of my mum. Oh, fantastic. Just nuts. They're not nuts, they're lovely. And Johan says, actually, that was Nero. Was it Nero? And actually said, yeah, Johan, Nero, Gandhi, check it out. Yeah, not Gandhi. Nice one. It's great when, someone says, oh, no, that was Nero. Yeah. And I'm glad that they communicate and say, yeah, you're right. It was Nero, not Gandhi. That's lovely, that. And Odette says, correct, Monsieur Frank. That was a powerful quote from Hamlet by Shakespeare. Sadly, those who are meant to be our role models have let themselves and society down.
I think that's always been the case.
Yeah.
I think power corrupts.
Well, it's like propaganda, as I said. And, the lovely Odette mentioned Hamlet.
Yeah.
Now, where you get Hamlet himself, where, he says, shall I be nobler in the mind and suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune? That's one of the powerful quotes, because, shall I act mad and suffer the slings and arrows, because he wants to find out that his stepdad murdered his dad. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether to be nobler in the mind and suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Brilliant quote. Powerful. And this is the way we are today. To react soft and people unfortunately do. They just say, I'll suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune because I don't want to argue back, about truth.
Yeah, don't want to get involved.
Yeah. The vlogs. Good show, Frank and Anthony. Gonna go and get my head down after a night shift last night. Go ahead, mate. You do that. He's a lovely lad,
Yeah.
Lovely. He'd be well in bed now. Actually says, I'm going, John Wayne, Marion Morrison, putting me chaps on and sitting on the toilet. Don't need underwear with them going bareback. Oh, blimey.
That's for a visual. I'd rather not have it in my head, that one.
Exactly, that was I. And the vlogs. Also, the landowner where I got the brochures invited me back to try and find more with the fearless dry up after this rain. Good night.
Fearless dry up. You know what? That's really, really good. That's great. Yeah. And I hope you do find more. Yeah.
Do you know that our museum's got loads of artifacts, Roman artifacts?
Yeah.
Because they camped here.
Yeah.
They had
Was it
some
last
camp?
week? Brilliant.
They had 2 camps. Shall I tell you where they had them?
No.
The Romans.
What?
They had them one, in Everton.
Yeah.
You know the church, St. George's Church.
Yeah.
Well, they camped there because they could look right over
Yeah.
to Chester, Diva Peninsula.
Right.
And they built a tower, and they used it as a semaphore. For Romans to circumnavigate
Yeah.
the UK. They used it as a semaphore, and also over to Manchester.
Wow.
That's what they used it for. Very clever. And the other campsite, and this is where they found loads of artifacts. This is Old Course Prison. Around Kirby Way.
Yeah.
Old Course is it.
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
That's where they found loads, and when they were building that, digging the foundations, digging up the thing, these finds, and that's where they camped as well.
Wow.
It's just like during the English Civil War, again in Everton. The pub, the Campfield,
Yeah.
and there used to be, a big sign, the Campfield, and um, you're seeing, oh, what's his bloody name? Oh, fuck. I forget his name. No, it was Prince Rupert on a horse. Prince Rupert, because that's where they camped. The Cavaliers, when they were going to go down and take on the castle. Because the parliamentarians, we were always, Liverpool's always been radical, so we were the parliamentarians. We didn't like the royalists.
Yeah.
So we held the castle. But in the Campfield, that's where the Cavaliers, were camped, looking down to the castle. Hence the Campfield, the pub.
Fantastic. What a sight in history.
Yes. Well, they've got a big brand new school there. It reminds me of a plane, a big plane, shaped like one. Well, I used to do night school there, believe it or not. Anyway, Johan says to the Achi, Hindu Nero married Feroz Gandhi, a Zoroastrian, different person. That's why the Nero family carries the Gandhi name now. Been reading up on a post-colonial history here. Very good.
Very good. And we all gain from your knowledge. Thank you.
Yeah.
Johan.
And actually says, we all come and go. It's what we use. It's what we use. We are, hang on. We all come and go. It's what we use. We are to mankind that matters. I love you all. Unfortunately, some piece of crap kicked me dog this morning, and I'm not happy about it.
Mm.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I understand that. I'm going against senselessness, brutality.
And Bella says, Buonanotte, Franco Antonio. Thank you for the great light of learning. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, Bella. She says, I'm a bit tired tonight.
Yeah.
You go to bed, sweetheart. And Johan says, actually, apologies. The inhumane excuse for a human did that to your dog. Hope the pup is okay. Yeah, it will be. You know, it's the mentality.
Yeah.
This is what I mean about the great uneducated.
Yeah.
We were talking about this today, weren't we, Anthony?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly what you said there. You want to Archie and Johan says Archie. You're right. Blimey, Nehru, that was first Prime Minister of India, that was slipping Edwina. I lived just up the road from Broadlands, proper grotty estate. Grotty. Tell tell Archie who brought that terminology grotty out. Go on.
Excuse my cough. That would be uh, one of our own beloved legends, Mr. George Harrison. He brought it to the
Brilliant.
attention of the world via the film Hard Day's Night,
And he went,
with Salem
what's that?
Scared
Yeah, it's grotty.
and
Well,
the thing.
but someone said to him, didn't he? A journalist, I think it was as well. Um, you came up with a word called, what does it mean? What is grotty? He said, well, it's from grotesque. So
Yeah.
we just shortened it to grotty.
Yeah.
And
And
now it's in the English dictionary.
it is, but that's brilliant. But that's what Scousers do. Even though your name might be Bob, so we've got the ability to shorten everything. So your name
Yeah,
is Bob. You're not going to get much shorter than that. But they call you Bo.
yeah.
What might be?
But it's like Ringo Starr. He calls his lad Zach. And
Yeah.
someone said, why Zach? He said, well, you can't shorten it. That's what he said. You can't shorten it. So we got Zach. Johnny Cash says, actually, when the man comes around, I was only saying to Annie ages ago that, and on here, I think, that no matter what kind of genre of music you like, whether it's heavy metal, whether it's pop, whether it's classical, whether it's jazz, whether it's anything, opera, anything. Everybody loves Cash because he had that distinct voice. Everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Da,
The
da, da,
only,
da, 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 da.
yeah.
And that became an anthem for Liverpool, didn't it?
It did. Yeah. That's a strange one from. I mean, Ring of Fire. Yeah, the track, wasn't it? But it's strange the way. Well, we talked earlier about the how literature transposes into all sorts of life, and the bigger audiences, the wider it grows, and it goes through music, and it goes through chants, and it goes through football matches are the greatest term of gatherings, aren't
Yeah.
they really, in modern society and on a regular basis? So Give Peace a Chance when that was sung at matches and all of that.
Do you ever remember the cop singing? Oh, you wouldn't. The cop used to sing, "She loves you, yeah," because it just came, and he used to sing. And another one, I think it
It's a
was,
thing as well, though, isn't it?
what was his name? But anyway, uh, I always remember Leeds United playing Liverpool at Anfield, and Gary Sprigg, the goalkeeper, he went to throw it out, but it slipped, because it was raining and it was slippy, the ball. And as he went to throw it out, it stuck to his hands and it went in the note, like that. It went into the. And he started singing Careless Hands. The cop just started. Yeah. But Gary Sprake, after he retired, he said, that was great. He said, such humour. He said, but I couldn't laugh at the time. He said, I did laugh when we were in the dressing room. And actually says, Billy Fiore went to a Scouser. Of course he was. Wondrous place. Me mum's a Scouser.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Don't give your love to someone. Yeah, it was him.
Yeah.
Jealousy. he had a mad voice. Not a mad voice, please don't get me wrong. It was a very distinctive singing voice he had. Wasn't it?
It was. I think his his moment in the spotlight came because it was the tail end of the 50s crooners, and the likes of Sinatra and stuff like that, and we had our own thing going on over everywhere it is in the world, but it was kind of. I'm not being detrimental to it, but it's kind of middle of the road music to please all sorts of, just before bands like the Beatles were the biggest in Liverpool came out, and then Billy Fury and all of them were seen as a bit old fashioned then. And you had the still great singers, but they were relegated, even Sinatra. Um, and we had them over here, the likes of Matt Monroe, and people like that, who then became second billing. The most powerful thing I remember reading years ago was a singer who I still absolutely admire his technique and what he did was Roy Orbison.
Wow.
Man, that guy had a truly sensational voice, and he was on tour with the Beatles, and he was the big name on the top of the poster, and they were like third down or whatever, and then halfway through the tour, the Beatles had a number one, and their popularity was growing, and so Roy Orbison said to the people running the tour, listen, drop my name down, put theirs on the top. Which is like, what the?
Didn't John Lennon, because when the Big O first came out, and you see him in black and white television, from America,
Yeah,
and he wore ordinary glasses.
yeah,
And didn't Lennon say, put shades on? And he wore sunglasses from then on.
yeah.
Tried to
Kind
put
of, yeah.
on. He went,
I,
yeah, I like that.
I think it was a version of what you've gone through yourself as well with the bright lights and stuff, and
Well, I should be wearing them now.
yeah.
And this is what was getting me last night.
Wow.
The headache, and
Yeah.
because what was happening to me with the headache, like a migraine. My eyes, when you're looking at a screen and it was like that, it was shaky.
It's the most
Just like that.
harmful thing we do. Yeah,
My eyes.
yeah, yeah,
Well, anyway, Archie says, not sure why, Frank. You and Tony bring the humour out of me. I must be a saint from Southampton. No, it's because you're half a scouser. That's your humour coming out, not us.
yeah, yeah.
And Toscana say, Anthony, I'm shouting at the screen. It was George in a Hard Day's Night.
Yeah.
Wasn't he describing a nylon shirt they
He
wanted
was
him to wear? Stroke
absolutely.
promote
Was.
in the
Yeah,
film.
I'm not wearing that. That's grotty.
It's grotty.
I wouldn't be seen dead in that. No, but you loved it. You, the young, loved these.
Incredible. And if she says, my dad said if I put as much work in at school as I did learning about the Beatles, I'd have been a genius.
Oh, John Lennon's famous quote. Well, one of them. There's so many of them. When someone said to him, "When did you realise, Mr. Lennon, that you were a genius?" And he said, "I've always known, but no one else, no one else could see it."
But
Self
he was, I reckon that he was a genius at school because he said in a little lesson, and he was saying, he said, didn't he, the teacher, write down something that, and he just wrote down to be happy.
Yeah.
A little kid.
Yeah.
To be happy.
And you know what other Liverpool world legend said the same thing, and a good friend to you, and a friend and inspiration to me and Lainey was Ken Dodd. When the babies were 24 yesterday, so when they were born, Lainey and I had a picture in the studio, and Ken Dodd came in and looked at it, and he was very deep, as you know. He's very, he's not wasn't
Oh
all.
yeah, no.
He was very, very clever, and
Very.
there was a queue of people waiting to talk to him outside our studio. They're just queuing up. Nice, they weren't causing fuss because they see it was Ken Dodd, and he quickly said to Laney and I, he said, "What would you wish for your children as they grow up?" And so you're thinking, well, they would say, to have big house, become a lawyer, become a doctor, whatever. So all this stuff is going through your head. And he said, I would wish that they'd be happy. And that was it then. And he turned round and all these people started coming in the room. And then all of a sudden it was Ken Dodd.
Back to Ken Dodd.
Bits of paper.
I told you that. Did I tell you how he tested me,
Yeah.
He tested me.
But
Brilliant. Shall I tell the people how he tested me?
Got you.
He tested me because he just said to me one day, he said, I believe you're a fine historian. And I said, well, I'm just an historian. That's what I studied for. And he said, but Liverpool history, this is what I'm saying. And people say, that, oh, that's Carlyle. He said, so I'm going to ask you, what did he call me? Something like Big Ed, so the way he goes.
Yeah.
The way he went. And he said, there's a question for you. And he said, Simmons would. And I went, yeah. He said, how did it get its name? And I told him. I said it was King John when he was up here. And he has a runner, and he used to go around the country. And no one can beat this runner. Because he said, if there's anyone who can beat this runner, I'll give a reward out. The king said. So he earned, okay. This fella went out, yeah, he'll run him. He'll have a go, come here. And Dottie was laughing his head off, you know, the way I was telling her.
Yeah.
And he said, okay. So he ran. And he ran around. He had to go around a circle, you know, a certain thing. And he easily beat his running. I said, so the King John said, okay. He said, you see that land there? That wood? He said, that's yours. That's your reward. That's yours. I'm giving you that land. And I said to Daddy, hence, his name was Simon. The lad who beat the runner, his name's Simon. Hence, Simmons Wood. And he went, you are the best. He said, no one gets that. No one. Because he was a great historian himself.
He was a passionate, proud Scouse.
Oh, yeah.
And he loved history. Yeah.
Oh, tremendous.
Yeah.
That was our Ken Dodds, wasn't it?
Yeah, legend.
Legend, absolutely. And Archie says, Toscana, we are all geniuses. Unfortunately, we've been deprogrammed. That's a good one, though.
Yeah.
That's a very well done, Archie. We have. Or they're trying to. You're not deprogrammed. And your fellow chatters, the people who I know on here, are not deprogrammed. Because we listen and we learn. And we don't take notice of misinformation, disinformation, and especially propaganda and spin. So anyway, Johan says, J.K. Rowling loosely based Harry Potter on John Lennon. Harry even had an Asian girlfriend and, of course, the round specs. Did you know that?
No, didn't know that. But
wow.
John's round specs came when he did a film, 1966, How I Won the War.
How I Won the War, yeah.
Which is an anti-war film.
Of course.
Had some great actors in it. And he was playing Private Gripweed.
Yeah.
And they gave him the glasses.
No, what they had to do, yeah, you're right, obviously. Because, do you know the way I look at historical events, history in films, and if there's anything at all that's, not historical to me, I won't watch it.
Yeah.
I won't watch it.
Yeah.
And it's just like that. Because if Lennon came out with a pair like these glasses, I wouldn't have watched it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't historical. Because they're not, well, they weren't national health then. The glasses then were just little round frames, and you can see them on any, black and white film footage I'm talking about, not films, but footage.
Yeah.
Real footage of like the 30s and the 40s, and they were little round things. And when the war was over, the National Health got hold of these little round glasses, because when I was at school, there was kids who had to wear glasses. They were little round ones.
Yeah.
So, they had to get that right. And that's why Lennon, and he liked them, didn't he?
Yeah.
I liked them. I think I'll get a pair made for myself. Yeah. And he did.
Yeah. On Sgt. Pepper album and stuff. He was wearing them then.
Do you know what? I can't get over what Johan said. That's brilliant. And what Toscana said, she would have been a genius if she wouldn't have been studying the Beatles.
Yeah.
That's you. Fantastic. Love it. And Toscana, in that match when Gary Spriggs scored the own goal, the referee asked Jack Charlton, what do we do? And Charlton replied, you'll have to give the goal. I didn't even know that. Just imagine today. I think the referee was just disallowed, especially playing Liverpool. And Toscana too actually agrees. I thought I did okay. 6 O levels and 3 A levels. And I'm showing my age. Oh, shut up. 3 A levels. That's great. Yeah, that's what I had to do O levels. But it's GCSE now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the A levels I have to do as well. Anyway, Archie says Toscana, the most unintelligent in my school, I've become the most successful. Being half Scouser and half Saint, I've always been confused. We'll finish on these last few ones. And Archie, Johan to Archie. Like the famous quote, I was born intelligent, but education ruined me.
Yes.
Was
Brilliant.
that
young
Mark
man.
Twain? Did Mark Twain say that?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
born intelligent, but education ruined. I'm sure it was Mark Twain.
Do you know what? Again, the great Leonardo, one of his things was to talk about education, and because he wasn't allowed to go to the higher education and the so-called universities and things, and he said it was the greatest thing that could have happened to me, not going through that. And William Blake, who was allowed in for scholarship and stayed there for a while and said, this is not right. This is turning a room full of people into the same person. So your independence and your flair for whatever you do in life is squashed with education.
Yes. Yes. I always remember when I was bunking off school, I was living with my grandmother at the time, and I was, I'm sick. So she said, okay. And anyway, she put me on the couch with a blanket over me. And she was really worried. My grandmother spoiled me, And she went in next door and they had a phone. And she said, can you call a doctor? Francis is sick. So she said, okay. I sent for the doctor. The doctor came along, Dr. Connolly. I actually mentioned him on one of my DVDs. Big Irishman he was. And he just he walked in, looked at me on the couch and he said, get up. And I went, I'm sick. He said, get up. So anyway, I had to get up, get dressed. And then he brought me to school. He took hold of my hand. And he always came on a bike. And he's pushing his bike and he has hold of my hand. And I said to his daughter, who then became my doctor, Dr. Renton. And I said to her about her dad, I said, do you mind if we're doing a DVD? I forget what it was called. I said, we want to, Heroes and Villains it was. I said, and we'd like to do your dad. And she went, oh, really? I said, yeah, because he was a hero. He was a hero to me. And I never, ever forgot the quote he said to me. Oh, you know what he said to me. Right outside school. And he put me in. And he said, Francis, the best medicine for you is education. Never, ever forgot that. Never, ever forgot that. Christopher, Johnny Cash's best song, well, my favourite, was written by his wife, June Carter. Ring of Fire. Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I mentioned before. That was all doing that in Istanbul.
Yeah.
Became an anthem.
Yeah. The music that shook the cop.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to finish on this, people, because Anthony and I are going to have a big fight afterwards because he's got loads of spare ribs over there, from the party yesterday. 16 pizzas, loads of scotch, loads of beer, loads of everything, and tin crab. Tin crab and lobsters. Loads of wine, loads of vino, and loads of bottles of grouse. Anyway, Toscana says, it must be something in the water in the River Mersey because the city has produced so much talent, says Toscana.
We talked about it and we tried to analyze it. It's nothing worth. I think there's something in all of us which is a rage against adversity. And when you come from an area, most of the great people that we've been talking about tonight, they had their headmasters, mistresses say, they are useless. He is an idiot. They will never amount to anything in life. And they do. And I kind of feel that Liverpool is part of that. There is a tremendous warmth and talent, and it comes from waging a war against adversity.
Yes.
Don't ever put anyone down.
No.
Don't underestimate them. Certainly not any scouser.
Yeah. Well, as George Orwell once said, truth became the enemy the day lies started paying better. Think about that. Truth became the enemy the day lies started paying better. That's what I mean, about politicians getting backhanders.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the millionaires.
Yes.
That one, she got the sack a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago now. And because she wouldn't pay 40 grand for the council house or something like that.
Yeah.
And she's where she lived in a council estate in a little council house. And when she became an MP, all of a sudden she's got like £4 million in the bank. Over 4 million. Ow. How? That's what I want to know. How? And as Orwell said, you know, lies pay better. And even Nietzsche, he said, I measure the strength of a spirit by how much truth it can take. Nietzsche. Powerful stuff. And Johan, thank you, Franco, Mr. Brown, and Legends. I've got a taxi to go to Pune at 6 a.m. I'll send you images when I get some time to walk around. Take care, Legends. Good night.
Good night, Johan. Good night, God bless.
6
All
a.m.
the best from all of us.
Yeah, good luck. He'll miss us tomorrow night because I'm doing the current affairs tomorrow.
Okay.
Anthony, thank you, my good friend.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you once again. And thank you all, our chat family.
Andy, just come on, they're brilliant.
They are brilliant. They're just great. They direct where we're going. No. And we've said it before many times, and um, we we don't do scripts. We're not scripted.
No, it's just off the cuff.
Yeah, bounces off the heart, off the cuff, and then it can occasionally be steered by our beautiful chat family.
Yes, because without them, as you know, there'd be no show. You'd be just sitting, as you said, on a park bench, just chatting away. And Toscana, grazie Franco, Anthony and Chatters, great comments on here. Buonanotte to you all. Italia playing Moldova, few minutes left, won't mention the score. Well, they should beat them. And Owen Lee says, about school education, my daughter went to City of Liverpool University, and I swear you couldn't trust her to cross the road on her own. She's that daft. Stop it. You can't say that. But mind you, you know, I wouldn't trust her to cross the road on her. She was that daft. But look at her now, university educated. Higher ed. That's what you need.
Yeah, yeah. It's that
Love it.
point where they stop being children and they're in charge. They're adults in their own life.
Little Ambi says, thanks again for the great show. Thank you, Ambi, for joining us.
Thank you, Helen.
And everyone else, like Owen. He says, thank you, gents, for your company. Great show once again. Thank you, Owen.
Thank you.
And if you want to join me tomorrow, and it's just nuts, isn't it? You know, unless you're all watching football, I don't know. I'll be doing the usual current affairs, what's going on in the world. There's loads to talk about. Not only that, and if you miss me then, On Saturday morning, 10:30, I'll be having the film and TV review, where I talk about films and no one bothers to bloody watch them. And TV, there's only Johan who's watched TV series. I keep putting out. Anthony, I've got to thank these people. And it's Gap Painting Services. Please get them out. Don't struggle trying to decorate if you're decorating for Christmas. They're fully time served, these lads. They're fully insured. If you're an NHS worker and if you're elderly also, get them out because you get a special discount. And if you don't fit into the categories, just get them out for a price without any obligation. And you'll see how reasonable they are. And that's Gap Painting Services. Sponsors of all of the podcast. All of the podcasts. And Johan says, 6 a.m. is 2 hours away here. I'll be there tomorrow. He's going to Mars.
Oh, time travel on Mars.
SpaceX. SpaceX, I mean, Elon Musk. Brilliant. I agree with what you're saying, Anthony, about Liverpool's talent, says Toscan. And she carries on by saying, take care, Johan, and enjoy. And Johan to the lovely Toscana. Take care, Tosk. Take care, Tosk. Good night, and there's glasses of wine for her.
Oh.
That could be Classico Chianti. Classico Chianti. And on that wonderful note, Anthony, thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
We've got to thank Jason.
Scotches to you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've got my water here. Salute.
Yeah.
And we've got to thank Jason for setting everything up.
Absolutely.
Gap Painting Services.
Yeah.
But most important, who do we have to thank?
Oh, our beautiful chat family. You know, it sounds such a small thing, but every single contribution, every comment makes a difference to where we're going, and how we're feeling about what we're talking about. It's very, very humbling.
It is humbling, and that's the words, isn't it? That's the terminology.
Yeah.
Humbling. And we're very humble people anyway.
Yeah.
Aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And on that wonderful, humbling note, I'll say good night.
Good night, dear.
To our wonderful Italian girls. Buonanotte. To our wonderful Adette, the French girl. Bonsoir.
Yeah.
Bonsoir. And we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. As the Italians say, a domani, tomorrow. Ciao.